Ellos son los residentes de Ciudad Elementos.
First, congratulations. It's an incredible movie. One of the most amazing things about this movie, I think, were the backgrounds, different backgrounds for each character. How do you work that concept art?
It was a really fun process of trying to make sure that the city represents what our main character was going through. And so one thing that she was going through was just, in the beginning, she doesn't feel like she belongs in the main part of the city. And so how do you make her feel like that? If she's fire, then we thought it'd be fun to start off with a city that was made out of water. So that would make it a little bit more difficult with her. And as we researched a lot of canals and a lot of towns that had that were by ports. But then from there, some of my favorite movies, when you travel to different sections of a city, and for Ember, these different sections of the city would begin to showcase how much that diversity is so rich for her. And then she slowly begins to really enjoy the city and all its variety. But it started that way. But then, it was a lot of fun trying to come up with worlds that were airy, and earthy and, watery. But it all started off with the main characters.
And then our production designer, Don Shank, did early exploration, but also I think really inspired, like basically just thought of the just real simple items about what would the fire characters sit on, and just did very imaginative, had a lot of imaginative ideas that I think set us on a really great path as well. And we just had an amazing team that were just all so, creative and clever, and it just, I don't tire of looking at the backgrounds either. Thank you for bringing that up.
¿Nunca has salido del barrio de fuego?
Lo siento, los elementos no se mezclan.
¡Hey!
Y mi papá te herviría vivo.
Nadie tiene por qué decirte qué puedes hacer con tu vida. Ven. No sé para qué las ponen.
Yo qué sé.
No, it was incredible. But the story is in relation with these backgrounds. And the story, how do you define this in the huge story of Pixar? Is a classic story because it's a love story, but different people for different worlds. How do you define that?
I feel like the way you were describing, Pablo, really is very similar to how I feel about it. It is, at its heart, a story about these opposites trying to connect, but then on top of that, those connections grow out to a family story, and then the family story grows out into this social city story. But it's all tying into, these opposites worlds, from the cultures, from the personalities, from the cities, all trying to make a connection.
Perfect. And what can you tell me about the production process? How long was is it? How do you work that in terms of time, deadlines, etc.?
I can jump in there and answer that one. It was a fairly lengthy process. We were in production 7 years, and we spent at least the first 3.5 years solely working on the story. Because we knew it was going to be such a complicated movie, technically, we wanted to make sure that it was as solid as possible. So Pete worked with the writers and the story team and editorial for a long time, and we just iterated on the reels. And then we really, as soon as Pete pitched the story, I started talking to our research people and our tools department to figure out how we could execute it. So we needed actually a longer, a typical schedule is about 5 years. We needed a little bit more time to kind of just actually figure out how to do it. So it was bringing together some really amazingly talented people to help us finish the film.
¡Mira esto!
¡Wow!
Ember, hay algo diferente en ti.
¿Un hombre agua? ¿Vives aquí?
Aquí vive mi mamá. Tenemos 2 niños nadando por aquí y los llamaré Marco, Polo.
Is there any movie in the story that do you feel close to this movie as an inspiration, not particularly in Pixar production, any movie, any classical movie?
I don't know if I would say that there was one movie. There were many, many movies that, I'm a lover of cinema, and we were inspired by so many pieces of great movies. But in the beginning of this production, there were movies that are kind of connected to more. But like you're saying, there's a classic story here that has always been in storytelling. These opposites coming together, and it's been done many different ways before. But what I loved about this was that could we show it in a way that highlighted the culture and the diversity and the elements and so yeah, but there's so many movie references and inspirations throughout it all.
Yeah, it's a story of diversity too. I think that. Well, congratulations, you are very kind. I enjoy the movie. I'm a Pixar fan. What can you tell? But I'm a journalist too. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Pablo. Thanks for your
Pablo.
time today.
Te dije, le encantan.